Hello, good evening. First of all, we apologize
Good
for the
evening.
late start of this podcast due to some technical errors we were not trying to fix. We apologize to the listeners that are waiting on the background trying to join, and we hope we'll be able to finish this in time and probably not hold our listeners. So, today, in our series of podcasts, presented by the Biomedical Research and Training Center located in Yobe State, Nigeria. We are hosting Dr. Rashidatu Abdulazeez, who is the founder or co-founder of Drosophila Nigeria. She, her research focuses on, she's a geneticist, Drosophila geneticist to be precise, and a developmental biologist. She has a teaching role at the University, Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and she had a lot of accomplishment when it comes to Drosophila. And I know a lot of the things that come, especially when you are practicing science in Nigeria, in Africa, there are a lot of challenges. Even here, even in the global north, you face problem with some of the conspiracy theories and a lot of things. So when it comes to Nigeria, the awareness is low, but we have some people that have been working tirelessly to see they have bring that to fruition. And today we are really glad to see that we are hosting Dr. Rashidatu Abdulazeez, who is kind of just off from the studio, I think, because of some network problem. So before we're able to get Dr. Rashidatu back on the stage, let's take a little tower and say something about the Biomedical Research and Training Center and why do we have this podcast series and webinar series. I think in the series of events coming up at BIRTC, especially this summer, we'll be having some summer schools. And I think this is a spoiler message. We are having some new interesting machine, especially for those interested in structural biology. They'll be able to they'll want to study the structure of proteins, protein aggregation. We have circular decoration machine now appearing in the center, and it will be rolled out in our inventory very soon, probably after the summer school. So, and just to give you a spoiler alert to those people that are really interested in following the activities happening by RTC, we'll be having a webinar series on particularly how to design your work, you capitalizing on the equipment we are having because we are having at the center, and how you'll be able to structure your work, your methodology, and how you'll be able to make full use of those equipment to answer the research question. We usually in Nigeria have really interesting research questions, and you have interesting scientists, and but sometimes there is limitation when it comes to the practice of science, especially when it comes to the infrastructure that means to do that. So in BioRTC with the equipment, we wanted to bridge that gap, and in doing that, that is why we have introduced the summer schools. Sorry, I'm trying to make those listening or those attending to be, because we have lost our speaker. I think she's having a technical network glitch. I think probably because of the season now in Nigeria, so but people do experience network problem. But we'll hope we'll be able to bring her back on stage, and we'll continue to have an interesting discussion. So just to say something about the speaker, she's an academician, and she's a researcher also, who has been working in the on the field of Drosophila research. I think she's one of the most prominent names when it comes to Drosophila in northern Nigeria, and it make it more interesting because um so yeah, so I just see a question that is, when is the summer school starting? Actually, the summer school, we have a series of them. Usually now they will start rolling up, I think, mid-July, ending July into up to mid-August. So the summer schools will be starting then, but the processes have already started, I think, months ago, where we have rolled out where we have rolled out posters advertising the summer schools and the direction of the summer school and the faculties that will be arriving and the criteria for the selection. I think the selections committee have been very busy and they have had their hands full with activities and everything now is in full gear. So just to answer the question and what about the summer school we started. But even if you are not able to join the summer school or you're not able to get selected, it doesn't mean that your participation or how to utilize RTC has come to an end. You will be able to. We welcome research visits. We welcome collaboration. We encourage people to come even over to Fushim, just come over to see how the things are done and to see how you'll be able to utilize those things to further your research. But RTC is the first open access core facility in Nigeria. We house um, very interesting set of equipment that covers, and we have various research cohorts, research groups, and we keep developing and we keep growing. And the aim is to see we have a very large community of researchers that are trying to solve the problems, especially local problems that relates to immediate and even immediate problems and the problems are not even immediate. So I still apologize again. We are still working towards, the team is working hard to see we retrieve a speaker, but we still cannot establish connection, I think. I don't know. So we really apologize. In the meantime, just to give us an overview of like just continue talking about the speaker we are having today. Personally, someone I knew have been working on Drosophila. She has trained over 500 um, students, both from the tertiary institution and also from secondary school in her outreach programs. She has a lot of collaborations, and she has been among the forefront when it comes to promoting the use of Drosophila in research for a lot of reasons. And because of that, we are hosting her so that we'll be able to learn from her experience in that. So she founded her PhD work focused on establishing she worked on establishing the genetics on the strains of Nigerian Nigerian Drosophila. So I know, which is very, very interesting because all the Drosophila in layman term, the Drosophila used in research originate from certain places in the world. And from then, a lot of complex activities will be done on them to characterize them so that we know the genetics. If we want to play with the genetics, we want the Drosophila to contain a human disease, it can be inserted, but it has to be known. So part of her work in her PhD, what she did is she characterized local strain of Drosophila found in Nigeria to put them on global map that will contribute to global research, which is really, really interesting. And yeah, I know she worked closely with, I think, the maestro when it comes to Drosophila research in Nigeria. He's a professor now in Ibadan. And yeah, so I think both of them who is working on Parkinson's disease, working like doing some interesting work. Yeah, so I think we were able to retrieve our speaker. Now let's see if we can have her on stage. Hello. Nice to have
Hello.
you back.
Nice to be here too. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry for
so
the network issues.
it's okay. It's okay. It's among the challenges. It's among the challenges researchers face. So, and I know because of the weather condition now back in Nigeria, so the network can be really problematic. Yeah, we really apologize, and we hope that the network will be good to us so that we'll be able to utilize and hear words from our speaker today. I don't know if you can hear me, Dr. Rashidat. Can you hear me? Yeah. So, well, I think we still have problem with the network, nonetheless. So the speaker had in her previous work, I know she worked on establishing a Drosophila lab in Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, and I was reading through her work. She has even like helped founded like three more other Drosophila research laboratories in institutions in Nigeria as well. She had partake in the establishment of Droso for Nigeria, which is which is hello, Dr. Rashidatu, are you back? Can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Yes, I'm back.
Okay, yeah.
I
So
can.
yeah, it's not a good day in office today, so we apologize. So to go,
Yeah.
I have been trying to introduce you and introduce some of the things you have been doing,
Okay.
but it's better, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I know you founded the Droso for Nigeria, which is
Sure.
and you have trained over 500 students from secondary school and the university in the use of Drosophila.
Yeah.
And I know recently you have helped in the signing of memorandum of understanding between Ahmadu Bello University Zaria and Biomedical Research and Training Center in the exchange of expertise, resources, and to bolster and to also improve the research community. So this says a little about our speaker today. So without for yeah. So my first question for you today, Dr. Rashidatu, I don't know. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm having
Yeah.
echo.
Sorry, I was trying to use two names. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, it's okay.
Yes.
So my first question for you today. Can you just tell us the major initiatives within your institutions and beyond, like what you have done, like just briefly? What are the major initiatives that you have initiated?
Okay.
Mm,
Okay. Some of the major initiatives that I have done within my university and environs is co-founding Joseph for Nigeria in 2018, along with three others that have same mindset with me. That is Dr. Monsurat in UK, yeah, and
mm,
Dr. Hamed, also in UK for Liverpool, and Glasgow, sorry, and Professor N.M. Danjuma
yeah.
who is with in Nigeria with me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can
Sorry,
hear
I
you
had
loud
to
and
use the
clear.
phone.
Loud and clear, yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, okay. I say, okay. So let's do this.
Hello?
Yeah, yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Um, yes, I can. Maybe I should use the phone.
Yeah, you should. I think that would be a better idea.
Hello?
Yeah, you can proceed.
Yeah, maybe I should just use the phone. That's it. Yes. Okay, okay, fine. So yes, along with three others to establish the Droso for Nigeria, which have trained over 500 undergraduates, postgraduate researchers in the use of Drosophila, and also we've engaged about 40 schools, both within and outside Kaduna State. So labs within and outside the university. Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting, even though. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you've talked about Droso for Nigeria
Mhm.
and the use of Drosophila.
Yeah.
How did the story started? Like, how did you get into Drosophila?
Okay. My journey into Drosophila actually began in 2014 during my master's. I initially came with an idea of investigating about house flies because I noticed that where I served in Katsina, there were lots of house flies and there were no means of controlling them. And we know that they are vectors to several diseases. So, and I love genetics right from time. So, when I came for my master's, I had that in mind to investigate the genetic variation of the house flies. Okay, let's know why they differ, why some are resistant to insecticides and all that to the gene level. So when I came, I met the only geneticist in our department, animal geneticist to be precise. That's Professor DM Shehu. That okay, I'm interested in going into animal genetics. So
Mm.
and he was like, okay, my research. So he was like, okay, fine, just give me your proposal, and which I did. But after a couple of months waiting for me to present, he called me and was like, Rasta, what's with housefly? Like, what really with housefly? Professor Denjuma, then he was the assistant dean of pharmaceutical sciences, had met him earlier and told him that there's an issue, there's a problem, and he went for a training by trained in Africa, and he knows that Department of Zoology, then Biological Sciences, is supposed to be in the best position to assist the university in handling this, in using this model for research. And when he was like, okay, you know what, you work with it, Rashidat. Instead, go and find out what do we need to do to work with Drosophila in the university and in Nigeria. I was like, in my mind actually, I was like, what the hell? After all the proposal and all that, you're telling me to work with Drosophila. He said, have I heard of Drosophila before? I said, yes. In 200 level, that was in 2010. You had taught us about Drosophila being the Cinderella of genetics, and you asked us to trap the fruit fly and all that. But that was just about it. I said, okay, I should go and read about it. He gave me a folder, which I went to read. To be sincere with you, I did not. I was actually sick because I was waiting to just present my work, and he's now telling me to change the model entirely. And he's telling me that there is a problem, so that means I should solve it. I was like,
A little glitch from the speakers again, so we really apologize. Yeah, so I think it's really interesting journey because Drosophila is among the most interesting um, organisms like that is being used in research. So for people listening and for the curious person that is listening, why do we care about research and why do we even like we are humans and why do we even focus on using animals or smaller kind of like organisms to study things? So the simple way to answer it, and I know there are a lot of the people with better ideas, but the simple way is the human body is really, really complex and it's not something that you just need layman time. You don't need it's not a playground because you don't just play with people. So you need some smaller organisms that will be able to model the human system so that we'll be able to either testing drugs, is not try to understand how the body behaves, try to understand diseases. So I think the speaker is back again. Yeah. So
yeah, sorry about that. So
it's
yeah, I
okay.
was like sick for like 2 weeks. That why should I be the one to solve Nigeria's problem when it comes to using a different model for what I want to do? But after like 2 weeks, a senior of mine advised me that it's best to go with what your supervisor wants you to do. And
Mhm.
yeah, so when I began reading about the Drosophila based on the folder he gave me, I fell in love with it. Like, wow, are you serious that this thing have so much similarities with humans and you can actually work with it? Like, and lo and behold, the solution that the research I had wanted to conduct was now actually the first point in using the Drosophila for research in Nigeria. That is the first thing was to first determine the genetic diversity. So now it's now happened to be that I just needed to switch my model, that is to
Mm,
Drosophila, and that was how working with Drosophila began for me. That's in
yeah.
2014. Yeah.
So that is a decade. That is a 10 years ago now.
Yes, yes, it is. Wow, 10 years ago, I
Yeah.
didn't even count it. The time flies, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So everything started with that curious master student that kind of stumbled into Drosophila, and eventually you find
yeah.
yourself co-founding NGOs, establishing a lab. That is a very, very big step, and that is something that is like not usually very, very common in the Nigerian context.
Thank you.
How did you come up with that idea? Like, what really sparked the interest in that? What is the motivation towards that?
Okay, yeah, the motivation for establishing Drosophila Nigeria also began in 2014, because while I was doing my master's, well, it's allowed. While I was doing my master's, I was also running another postgraduate program in education because I love to teach. I have passion for teaching. So I went to do that with NTI, National Teachers Institute, Kaduna. So I was running my master's and same time running my postgraduate diploma, but that one was for 1 year. So during the course, you have to do a project, and my project now happens to be on the facilities and academic performance of biology students in secondary schools. So when
Mm.
I investigated, I researched on some of the secondary schools we have in Zaria, I noticed that based on their WAEC results, there has been decline over the years on biology performance in secondary schools. And I was like, okay, well, after the work, that was 2014, 2015, I rounded up my master's also. So in 2016, I was like, how can I really help? How can I help to ensure that to improve the academic performance of students? Because I had noticed that even during my secondary school days, the performance, I don't know, students do not like biology. And one of the reasons, which was also like 5 years later, also the same reason, is that biology is too abstract. Biology is too bulky and all that. So I was like, okay, how can I solve this problem? How can I tackle this problem from my own little end? And in 2016, I happened to stumble across Andre Prokop, University of Manchester, Professor Andres Prokop, and I noticed that he's been using Drosophila to stimulate the interest of students. In fact, right from their kindergarten classes, and I was like impressed. Wow!
Mm.
So I can actually merge this. I can actually solve the problem of low academic performance in biology using Drosophila. And that was how the journey began in 2016. I even met with Professor Mahmoud Maina 2017 during so now, okay, how can I do outreaches and all that? And he guided me through. So now in 2018, we had our first test the water using three of the secondary schools of how we can improve their teaching and learning using Drosophila, and it was superb all the way. So that was how Drosophila Nigeria came to be. Yeah.
Wow, congratulations. That's really an
Thank you so
interesting
much.
journey.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So I know definitely these are the good news. And
Okay.
yeah, there must be challenges.
Of course. Of course.
Can you tell us what are the challenges you faced? Like it's like okay, before that, if I can say, so far now,
Yeah.
and in terms of grants, how many grants have
Mm-hmm.
you were you able to get to support your work on the outreach program? And do you have any
Okay.
grant support from Nigeria? Nigerian institutions, Nigerian government, or anything? Or everything is just from the outside?
Okay. Yes. So far, I've been able to, for the past 5 years, I've been able to secure 10 grants. Now, just one of that grant is from Nigeria. That's the institutional based grant. Then two are based on my collaboration with some researchers, one in UK and the other in Switzerland. So that's two. Then the remaining seven actually are international grants. Yeah. So
Oh,
just
okay.
one from Nigeria.
Just yeah. So yeah. So that is some of the challenges facing the researchers back home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So in terms of the political aspects, what hindrance or like what hinges do you face? So has the movement have to like kind of like you establishing a lab? Has it like kind of been seamless, like kind of hinge free, or you have faced a lot of obstacles and were you how did you able to kind of like some of them that can you could be able to say it for us today? Not all in the interview.
Okay, of course, some of the hitches that we faced so far, because I'll have to use the word we, since
Mm,
it's not a one, it's not myself only. It's the issue of funding. Yeah,
mm,
the issue of funding and how we were able to navigate that, because we had a plan, we had a roadmap and all that. How we were able to navigate that was that first of all, we needed to show that we could do this. We needed to gain the trust of those around us that we could deliver, we could do this. So what we did was
mm,
to use our own personal funding. We had to charge ourselves, to get it going, to show that okay, this can work and this will turn out positive. It's the same thing with the lab. I also had to use for the lab, though I had to use my money because it wasn't that of Joseph for Nigeria for it. So I had to use my money to get some of the things like teaching way imbalances and all that before getting the students to work and yes. So that was how we were able to navigate the funding aspect. Now, in terms of the space, well, I will say I have been lucky. I have been lucky in the sense that I hadn't met with so much challenge in that of the space, because before I even got an appointment with Ahmed Bello University in 2019, I displayed to my supervisors that I could do this. I could train others using Drosophila. And the head of department then, which is Professor Undams, told me that, okay, I should just check among the technicians who I think I can train before leaving the university, because I worked somewhere else before coming back to the university, who I could train to take over the lab. I now got one person, which happens to be my lab manager up to today, which is Malan Salisu Muhammad. So I trained him in 2018 before leaving Ahmed Bello University after during my PhD. Yeah, so I trained him, and they used their lab. They had a lab space called entomology and parasitology lab. They had a lab, so they used their lab to house the flies. Then when I came back, they got me a small dark room. Well, it was supposed to be my office, but I was like, okay, I'm comfortable squatting with someone, and but I'll convert that into the Drosophila lab. It's a very small place, no window and all that, so it's actually not fit for someone to stay. But I converted it into a lab. Then that was how the department left it for me to use as a lab. And then much recently, one of the co-founder gave us a bigger lab space, a standard lab. So yeah, to me, the space of a thing wasn't much of a problem because I had those that supported right from the scratch. In fact, including
yeah.
giving me his office, that's from DM Shehu to house the flies. So space wasn't a problem to me actually. Yeah. So those were some
That's
of the challenges I faced. Yeah.
yeah, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. We know that it's nothing that you'll achieve it. Yeah, that will
Mm,
just go seamless. But yeah, so
mm,
as a scientist, we know using your money in the research, personal money must that is a lot of is something that is not encouraged. It's not supposed to happen because
no.
this is something that is then being done to the society, and we like researchers. The work of researchers need to be acknowledged by the public and also by the government to be able to fund that. So concerning that, as let me ask you this question: why is research
Okay.
important?
Sorry, you said
Why
why?
is research important? Why should the government and the universities be focused on research? Because we have now taken like Africa at large and Nigeria specifically as a model. we have a lot of problems. So, and now
So
we have some researchers coming up and saying that, okay, now we're dedicated to research, and we know research is not cheap, it's expensive. So how will you convince like a non-scientific audience that research is something that is worth investing from the government or like from the institutions or like from philanthropists, charity organizations?
okay, yeah, I'll make them understand that whichever challenge we have been faced with, that they require evidence-based research. Take, for instance, in terms of food security. Now, you need to conduct research on how to improve maybe the varieties that we have on ground, or how to improve even the weather condition and all that. All those stem from research. Now, just a few days ago, on my way to the capital city, I know that rice are usually planted in waterlogged areas. That's what we've come to know. But funny enough, just close to the aviation, I saw a dry land, and I saw rice growing on it. I had to ask the bike person that, are these rice? When I shinkafa, and I had to, are these rice? And he was like, yes. I was amazed, like, but ana yin shinkafa, don't they do rice on, as in waterlogged areas? But this place is dry. And I said yes, that there are rice, drought resistant rice varieties. Now I was amazed, like, so that is research. That is why the government needs to fund research. Whatever challenges, whatever problem we are being faced with, have its roots to being solved from evidence-based research. So that's how I'm going to convince the government that, yeah, research is just the only way we can go forward to develop this country, to develop Africa, to take it to the dreamland. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
I
well,
hope I answered
actually,
the
I do.
question.
Of course, you did. I think that is the right
Okay.
thing to say, because all the problems we are having now can be solved in
Yeah.
research in
Yes.
all fields, from biology to non-biology to human studies
Whatever.
to
Yeah.
yeah, everything. Yeah. So I hope we'll
Yeah.
have a more proactiveness from the government. And one thing I've noticed here,
Okay.
there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that have charity organizations that fund research. You have some fundraising, like the Popular Welcome Trust is a charity fund. It's not even funded by the government.
Okay.
So it's something that is not kind of done in Nigeria, because we have a lot of people with foundations. But when we say foundation in the Nigerian context, what people really think is only to maybe give scholarship to students,
Scholarship. Yeah.
sponsor people to study,
Helping improve
but improve life.
lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's now bring me to another question. You have experience when
Okay.
it comes to outreach. You have experience when it comes to increasing the impact on the utilization of Drosophila and research. Have you
Yeah.
ever thought of how you will start talking to probably some of those philanthropists we have in local philanthropists? It doesn't have to be big. Local philanthropists, the science communication, how do you try to approach them with the issue of, like, if you are giving your philanthropy, if you are having your foundation, if you wanted to support the community, I think investing in research is also a good way to go. Did you have any
Yeah.
idea, or you have already done that, or do you think it's a good idea when it comes to solving the research restrictions and bottlenecks we are having in Nigeria?
I don't know if I get the question right,
Is a
but
very elongated one. Sorry.
yeah. So please, perhaps
So
shorten it.
what I'm saying is, as a person with outreach experience,
Okay.
science, that is science communication, and one of the issue you highlighted in your discussion is the issue of funding, in which you have to put on your own money.
Yeah.
We will not, yeah, we have philanthropists, we have charity organizations, we have foundations. Like in every
Mm-hmm.
place, localities, you see people that are able to do that. I say, and so the question is, in your quest for science communication and outreach, do you have plan, or is already something that you have already been doing on how to approach those philanthropists to be able to fund research, to do something of a research? Do you have any that kind of idea?
Okay. For now, no, not on research. For now,
Mm.
because I believe we have a lot of data from research, but we need the society to first accept us, to first trust us. So, and if you have the backing of the society, then it's easier for you to get the backing of the philanthropist. Now, because when you
Okay.
go to, yes, I think I was discussing with someone, a politically minded person who is close to the governor of Kano State, about
Mm.
taking Drosophila outreach to Kano. And one of our discussion then, because we wanted the governor to sponsor such, but the issue was we needed to have evidence that this has worked and this will improve the education quality of those in Kano State. So what I think is that the researchers currently, we are yet to get to that stage. We are yet to prove to the politicians or to the philanthropists that we have the trust of the masses. We have their needs in mind. Now, most of the researches usually just end up in the shelf, right? Now,
Yeah.
it's not really addressing. It's not demand driven. The researches that we do is not demand driven. And you cannot go and meet someone to give you money so that you can solve your own problem. Rather, he wants to see that, okay, you can be able to solve the problem of the society. So
Mm.
for me, right now, I still think that we still have a lot to go in terms of meeting the philanthropists. We really need to build the trust. We need to build the trust. Someone cannot give you his or her money without saying that you actually deliver the work. Now, some will tell you they have past experiences. Like, I think there was a time I wanted to meet with a director. No, not a director. Yeah, director of there's this
Mm.
Al Madina Hospital in Zaria, and to request for fund. And the person was like, we usually give money to some of these activities, and we don't get anything in return. We don't see it. Someone would decide that money that was given to have to fund a research, you decide to use it to buy a car or to do something and all that. So that trust has been broken, really. So, and we need to build on that before we can go further to seek. So, and ever since then, I was like, okay, so I have to use my money to build that trust. Now, based on the wealth I've acquired now, and the publicity, I can still go back to that person and say, okay, see, this is our track record. We usually deliver when giving this money. Okay, so I think basically that's just it. That's
Yeah,
just it,
so
basically.
if I can understand, probably for the past
Yeah,
decade, what you have
yeah,
taken upon yourself is to see how to rebuild the trusts probably
yeah,
some people have, especially with academicians and researchers, because
yeah,
we
yes,
know usually you have some little like the government supported TED fund and also for the institutionally based research that you just
yeah,
mentioned, which usually
yeah,
support academicians in the
yeah.
institutions to perform their research. But we know the normal thing that is happening.
You know the
So
normal thing. So, so,
exactly, yes. But so with that, especially you that have experience dealing with
yeah,
graduate and postgraduate and undergraduate students, even those from secondary school,
yeah.
how what message do you use to convince? What message were you going to use to convince a pupil from secondary school to take a career in research when you are funding your research?
Okay. The message I will give, if I get the question right, is
Yeah.
that first of all, I'll tell the pupil or the students, are there any problems he can see within him, his family, immediate family, before going to the society? And if
Mm.
he tells me yes, which obviously it's a yes, of course, and I'll tell him, do you want those problems to linger? If he says, of course, you say no. Now, fine. What do you think you'll do to solve this problem? And why don't you want the problem to linger? Okay, so I
Okay.
want him or her, yes, I want the student to give me the responses himself. Now that way, I'm going to guide the student to into the passion of solving the societal problem, no matter how little it is. Now, when you have that passion, when that student have that passion, believe me, there is no obstacle that that person will not overcome. So the problems are numerous, but have the passion to solve something, and the fire will just keep burning, no matter the noise. So,
Exactly. Well,
and yeah,
with this, you have already sparked my interest as well. So I believe it's more than I
yeah,
want.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So the story so far. What
Okay.
are your what what are your like now at this current situation you are? What will be your
Mhm.
long-term goals, probably in the next 10 years, 5 years? How do you envision, according to your track record, how do you envision yourself going?
Hmm. Uh, Based on this, I envision that Drosophila Nigerian goals of improving biomedical research and also of improving the quality of biology education will cut across different states, will cut across Africa, especially Africa. Yes, that will be able to go like not since there are other activities about Drosophila globally, but Africa, it is limited. So our goals for the next 10 years is to see how we can improve biomedical research in Africa and also improve the quality of education. Now, come October, God's willing, this year, we'll be having an outreach in Rwanda, similar to what we are currently doing in Nigeria. So our goal is to have it at least the whole of Africa, improved biomedical research through Drosophila, and then also improve their education, stimulate the interest of our primary and secondary school students in science, more especially in biology. Yeah, so that's what we
Yes.
see ourselves.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That only also trigger my memory. If I'm not mistaken, last year I think you
Okay.
were invited to the Ibro World Congress that happened in Spain.
Yes, 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 I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I know at the world stage now there is a lot of focus and a lot of interest when it comes to dissemination of science and research
Science.
to
Yeah.
under-resourced settings. So,
Okay.
and I know probably you've been a focal point, like with your track record. What do you
Thank you.
encourage the international body to do in assisting research in Nigeria, specifically in Africa? What are the things that you
Okay.
kind of like when you have, yeah, what are the things you do? What are the things you do? Because if we
Okay,
have
what I
okay,
will
your students, yeah, what are the things that you usually propose to them? What are the things that you usually tell them? Because definitely we want the situation to improve. We don't want a situation where
yeah,
researchers are investing in their money into
listen,
research. We
there are
want a better
many. Yeah,
condition. We
yeah.
want
So
a community that will be able to solve its own problem. And we have now the
yeah.
interest of the international community getting into that. What do you usually tell them that okay, we need this and that? What are the things that you tell them that we need?
Okay, usually there are three things that I usually tell them that we need, but the first is infrastructure. We need to have the infrastructure. Then the second is the capacity building. We need to
Mm,
build the capacity of those that are around to utilize those infrastructures, especially the equipment
yeah.
aspect. Then the third is now the funding. Now I know I took it in the reverse order, but usually the funding you
Comes
have to
first.
get the infrastructure first before you can give the researcher the money, because if you do that you end up using the money, the funding, to get some of the equipment, and then you see that, oh, this research is not going anywhere and it keeps coming back for more money. So no, the first to have the infrastructures, the building, the
Mm,
equipment. Then the next is to have capacity building, to build the capacity of the local staff personnel around, or the researcher. and then before the funding comes in to actually do this research. Yeah, so that's how I usually tell
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yes, and to just add on that, I think it's very, very important when it comes to infrastructure. And I know
Yeah.
we have a lot of, because Nigerians, you have a lot of interesting Nigerian scientists that are
Mhm.
situated along
Globally.
various good corners in the world that are doing amazing
Yeah.
things, developing the societies
Yeah.
there. And one of the reasons that hinder them to come back home is the lack of infrastructure, nothing to support them. Government doesn't have attention to that. The university also doesn't see eye to eye with those people coming from abroad on that. So
They don't
and yes, and I know you have that kind of interest, and that's why
experience,
uh,
right? Yeah.
exactly, yeah. Well, you signed
Yeah.
you recently facilitated this the signing of memorandum of understanding between ABU Zaria
Avian
and
by
and by
RTC.
medical research, yes. So and I know by RTC is an open access facility that usually we
Yeah.
encourage scientists to come over,
Scientists. Yeah.
utilize the infrastructure. You can use on infrastructure to be able to apply for grants.
Yeah.
So do you have that in mind of probably now you're affiliated to BioRTC, okay, I want to use this to apply for bigger grant to be able to do this, okay, we are housing this equipment, that equipment will be able to utilize it. Do you have any grant in pipeline or you have already gotten one that we don't know?
I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but of course I have a line of yeah, of course I have a
That is
line of and yeah. Of course we did. No. You need to see the way we had to handle that MOU because we knew what we were going to gain out of it. We knew what AB was going to gain out of it. Yeah.
yeah,
So of course we have
yeah,
lots of lines. So
yeah. Yeah, I know, and I have to recommend you for that because it kind of really,
thank
really moved
you.
fast. I remember on
Thank
the
you.
onset of RTC, we wanted to kind of have, like, obviously ABU is one of the biggest universities in northern Nigeria, so we wanted to the cohort, at least those closer to RTC, get to benefit more. And I know the process had been very, very sluggish, but then it comes and we just everything move fast with you. So that is really, really, it shows your science communication is really, really strong.
Okay, and you know the secret recipe? Of course you should by now. Is
I
trust,
don't.
showing that you
Yeah.
can deliver. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it
Yeah.
comes
So that was
exactly. Well, so that answered the question. It comes back to what you have been doing 10 years ago of trying to build a trust.
yes, yes.
As I think that is a policy that is worth kind of like doing. And I know we have a lot of interesting scientists in Nigeria, and we hope in the next 10 years or
Yeah.
more, the attention of the government, and the attention of charity organizations, the attention of public, and we have a lot of students that will be really, really happy and
Yeah.
eager to take career and research because the thing is, our problems can only be solved by us
By research.
because
Yeah.
no one will perceive the magnitude of our own problems except the people local there. You don't
Yeah.
expect like
That's
a person from Europe to come over to solve your problem. You have to solve it your own way because you understand it more than anyone
more.
that's from there. And there is no way you'll be able to solve your problem without having an intellectual community that will be able to do things accordingly with research and discoveries.
Yeah.
So I see we have taken a lot of a minute discussing, which is very, very interesting discussion. So for the
Thank
listeners
you.
in the backstage, if you have any question, please post it in the chat box. We have a lot of good wishes messages in the chat coming from
Thank
various
you.
social media. Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to everyone and we apologize for the network glitch we have at the beginning of the webinar and
Yeah.
the late the podcast. So we are really, really sorry about that.
Sorry.
But it's the situation in Nigeria. We hope that next we are hosting Dr. Rashida in her lab. Will have more internet access. She will have a funding that will support that.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember, this podcast can be available on demand in our own social media handles at BioRTC
Okay.
Nigeria. So you can listen to it, you can post your question, and we'll be able to get back to the speaker. And for all the students listening, The sole purpose of hosting these researchers we are having now is for you to get to know what they are doing, the impact they are trying to do in research, and if you want to have a mentor, you can reach to that person. Search the person on Google. Don't search Rashidatu Abdulazeez on Google. You will see her profile. You will see her email. Send her an email that I'm so person. I'm interested in what you do. I want to have an idea or anything, and you can be able to build a mentor-mentee relationship or any collaboration, seek for guidance, and the list goes on. I see we have reached already 50 minutes mark on the time we have spent after like discussing. And I wanted to thank each and every one that has been patient with us, and also thank the director of our center, Professor Mahmoud Bakar Maina. And I would like to thank our speaker today, Dr. Rashidatu Abdulazeez. Yeah, just one more curious question before I let you go. You said you help in establishing of 3 more laboratories in Nigeria. Where are the locations? Where are they located?
Okay. One obviously in Damaturu, then one in Nasarawa, where I assisted, like I said, assisted. Yeah, one in Nasarawa, and then the other one in Ogun State. Yeah, and one
Ogun
currently
State.
coming in Ocean State. Yes.
In Ocean State, apart from the one you have in ABU.
Yes, apart from the ones I have in Zaria, because currently they're about. So yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. So do you only establish them and you let them go, or you have a kind of a cross-link communication between all the centers? Because you're having it in Oshun, in is it Ogun you said? Sorry. You have one in and it's very, very interesting, and you have one in Zaria, you have one in Damaturu. It's kind of like that's the whole Nigeria for you. Well, that's part of Nigeria for you. Yeah. So how do you ensure that you keep those places in check, or like
we kind of support them with some little startup materials where we can, and also try to train their staff via Zoom, just like the one I did in Rwanda a couple of months ago. We also trained their staff via Zoom. Sorry, I failed to mention that of Rwanda also. Sorry. I didn't mention that. Yeah, also that one in Rwanda, I didn't mention that. So we do an in-house training for them, and then send the flight, and we communicate, because they are different. These labs have different research focuses. So we do a collaboration with them. Yes, just like for instance, if you want to work on my student, an objective that have to do with maybe neuroscience, we'll have to go and work in that of Damaturu. Or if you want to do maybe what do they call it, histopathology, at least there's upcoming lab in Zainab's department, which is currently trying to do in anatomy, human anatomy. And if you want to work about on biochemical and all that, I think Hassan Lab is also oncoming, where you can also go and do some of this there. So I try to make the objectives to be kind of broad, so that we'll have linkages. Yes, we'll have linkages, we'll have different ideas and all that, making the work to come out well.
Yeah, well, that's really interesting, because the research committee, it doesn't matter now the background, but the interest in research is what should be the driving force. And you having various these labs, or like you have a collaboration with them, or it means you are partaking kind of like you have a multiple approach to research and solving problems, which is really, really interesting.
Multidisciplinary research.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I know you're now probably in your post-PhD trying to develop your research idea in developmental biologists and genetics as well. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about, okay, what will we expect in the next years from your own, particularly your own career?
Okay, so many bags, so many cats setting out of the bag. Yeah, I see myself becoming an expert in the next 2-3 years, not even 5. Becoming an expert in ecotoxicology and population and evolutionary genetics. Becoming an expert in understanding what impacts the environmental toxin because we are subjected to it every day have on our population and also on our evolution. Yeah, so using Drosophila as a model, of course. So I see myself becoming
That's
an expert in that area. Yeah.
those are really interesting questions. We really hope to hear a lot of interesting publications coming out from your lab, and we hope to hear
Yeah.
good news about funding also coming from your
Yeah.
own
Thank you.
space, so that it will be able to support the work, the beautiful work you are doing. Yeah,
Thank you.
so yeah, I think we'll be able to bring everything to a wrap now. No, yeah, so
Okay.
let me try and see. Um, and look into the chat whether we have any question for you.
Okay.
Yes, so
Okay.
we have a lot of good wishes, amazing work. The
Thank you.
network, someone is complaining about the network. We acknowledge that and we really say a big sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
so greater heights, Dr. Rashida from Sadiq
Thank
Gadat.
you.
Interesting journey. Yeah, I love you too from Khalid Muhammad. Keep the good work going. My
Thank
mentor,
you.
keep it up, thumbs up. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Dr. Rashida. I look forward to a collaboration to utilize the Drosophila melanogaster as a model organism to study the host parasite interaction in experimental
Yeah.
trypanosomiasis and malaria. That's a very interesting one
Wow.
from Yunus Ewada.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
With the hope to
Wow.
identify potential therapeutic targets. So I probably know
Okay.
this must be, yeah. So keep it up, ma'am, from Musa Muhammad Sauda. Best wishes, Dr. Hawaw Ahmad.
Thank you.
Well done, Dr.
Thank you.
Rashidatu from Honorable Akin Kumi. Okay, greetings from
So, thank
Ibadan.
you.
Thank you very much. Keep it up,
Oh,
Doctor. So, and the list goes on.
good. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah, so
much.
we have,
Thank you,
yes,
everyone. Yeah.
so we have a lot of good wishes for you. So, in
Thank
case if you
you.
wanted to reach to Dr. Rashida, you can find
Okay.
her. And if you wanted to have anything associated with BioRTC, you can visit our website on
Yeah.
www.biortc.com to look into the
Okay.
amazing things we do, to look into the science we do, to look into how we support graduate students in Nigeria, in Africa,
Yeah.
be able to come over. Now we have our fellowship program that is running.
Yeah.
So the idea of the fellowship is you will, when the call is open, you will submit your application. Are you a PhD student or you are a master's student? You have a research project. Then you send the research project and the objectives and how you want to use our equipment. And the fellowship is we will provide free usage of our own equipment, confocal microscopy, imaging, Western blotting. We're gonna give you everything to use it for free, and we even support your accommodation and some travels to buy RTC for a certain period of time. And if you require to stay longer, then we expect you to kind of like have some a little bit of buffers,
Response.
so so that we'll have a lot of people to come for the fellowship. So I know we have currently the first cohort is already in, and we have
Mm,
already, at the moment, we have a fellow, I think 2 fellows in the lab that are doing, and after they have finished their work, others will come in. And I think we're going to run this
yeah.
program for probably up to a year. So if you are a postgraduate student or you're just a scientist with interest in science idea and you wanted to pursue it and you wanted to utilize it, do visit by RTC and check our website and check the equipment we have. And if you have any question, you can just send an email at the help. We'll try to respond it. The team is there to respond to the timely question. And even if you want to organize a chat to discuss your research idea, if you want mentorship, if you want, we have various cohorts in by RTC that we're able to link people to,
Okay.
even if we, so that is the whole idea of the thing. And if you wanted to secure an antibody, probably it can be hard for you to ship it. We will also facilitate that.
Yeah.
So those are the little things by RTC are doing. But remember, this is just tip of the iceberg. We do a lot more. Just visit our website and search for more. The idea is to
Yeah.
support. The idea is to support scientists, support students, create the research community for the collective goodness of Nigeria and the African public. And together is everything is to support the global knowledge. That is the main
Yeah.
goal. From the African context, how do we contribute to the global knowledge? It's not that we only take it in, but we wanted also to contribute our share to
Also
the
contribute,
global
yeah.
knowledge about, yeah. So I think I have to read this message from Salisu Muhammad, who is your lab manager. My mentor is giving us back to back. So, yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so that is one question that just popped up. Probably let me just show it on the screen. Thank you, Dr.
Okay.
Rashidatu. Can the Drosophila research be used in understanding the kidney failure in some part of Jigawa and Yobe, especially toxins? Yeah, so
Yes.
this is from Hafiz Muhammad.
Yes, it can. It it can. In fact, I can. It can. Wait. I can't say 100%, but at least I'm going to rate like 90%. Yes, it can, because Drosophila have the human analog of kidney, so we call it the Malpighian tubules in Drosophila. So you can actually use Drosophila to investigate, to understand the kidney failures, any part, and all that. Yes, and in relation to toxin, perfect. Yes, you can.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. So, Hafiz, if you have any interesting thing, you can reach out to Dr. Rashida and discuss more. I think we'll be able
Okay.
to bring a wrap and close the studio for now. And we thank each and everyone that have been patient listening to us at this hour. We apologize for
Thank you.
the we apologize for the network glitch we experienced, and we thank the speaker for sparing her time to speak to us this evening. And on
Thank you so
behalf of
much.
me, who moderated this session, and everyone backstage that helped in making this program into reality, and we give a
Yeah.
gift shout out to our own director, Professor Mahmoud Bukamana, who has also been always supportive. Yeah, we say goodbye and have a nice evening, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you for